it's MK, and I am back with another 31 days of cut files for you guys. And today is a new week for a new set of cut files. This set of cut files is called documenting. So our first file is take the photo. I'm going to be coloring it with this mist color from Close to My Heart. It is a shimmer brush, and it's this really cool sagey green color. I've also got lots of little bits and pieces from some mint tape pieces, Simple Stories collections, 49 and Market, and I think, did I already say mint tape? Yep. So I've got just a random little bits and bobs of things. And then from 49 and Market's Nature Study, I haven't even opened these yet, you guys. I'm so ashamed. But I have the mushroom and foliage laser cut elements. So I'm going to try to use some of those. I've got 3 photos that I would like to work with today. And they all look the same. They are the same. They're just different perspectives from taking the camera. Also from Cocoa Vanilla, I have this striped piece of paper that is from The Great Escape. Here is The Great Escape. And then I also have the plaid paper, which is called Stargazing, but I don't remember what the striped paper is called. Also from 49 and Market, From 49 and Market, I have this foundation paper that I believe is also from Nature Study, and it's foundation paper number 3. And from Minte, the Woodland Collection, I have this gorgeous piece of paper, which is actually paper number 9, but it is the cut-aparts for this collection. But I plan on using it for this peachy pink side that for my photo mats. And then also from the same collection, which is the chipboard stickers, I'm going to pull out a couple of these little stickers. And last but not least, for my base page, I'm going to use this Life Stories from My Mind's Eye. So that is what I have for you guys as far as what I'd like to put on this layout. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out where, what this was called, like what this paper was called. I don't know. It was hard for me to find what the name of the paper was on the branding strips. So first thing I'm going to do is decide which one I wanted to use for my photo mat, which I already knew I wanted to use the Minte one. But first I'm going to trim down my photos. Now, when I trimmed my photos down, I completely forgot that I was going to put one of these photos in my die cut frame. Completely forgot about it. So I was trying to trim them all down as small as I can make them, so that way I could mat the photo and it not be a waste of the mat. I'm also going to try to, when I go to mat the photo, try to keep what I can as far as the images go, so that way I can still fussy cut out some of the florals and mushrooms and things like that. So that's what I was trying to go on. I think I still have another one of these papers, but at the moment I was like, well, I'm going to try to fussy cut some of these out. We'll see. Yeah, so I went ahead and fast forwarded that because it did take a lot of brain power. And then this is when I realized that I was going to mat my photo and then frame use the frame as the same color as the photo mat. So that's what happens when I plan so far ahead and then you forget how to, what you're actually going to be doing. And then I forgot to color my my cut file. So that's on me as well. I just was so excited to get the layout started that I forgot the steps I was going to do. So when it comes to these shimmer pens from Close to My Heart or Wink of Stella, or I think Stampin' Up! Has a few of these as well. I'm not really sure, but they are alcohol based. And when you go and color them once, they're a nice light color. You color them again, they get darker. And then the more you color them, the darker they get, just like a Copic marker, right? Also, when I go to color using this type of pen, because it is a very fine-tipped brush pen, it doesn't like the edge or the little lip that my die cut machine gives the cut file. So I really have to go over this several times just to get the shade that I like in order to get the edge colored. I know it's a pill, but I really didn't have any other color I wanted to use except for this beautiful green. So there it is. And now I've got a little bit of sparkle too. It's going to be the only sparkle I have, but I have a little bit of sparkle. Now I can finally get my photo glued into the frame. Thank goodness I didn't forget again that I was going to do this. And these are 3 of the same pictures of my kids standing at the shoe tree. I wanted to take different angles because I wasn't sure which one of the photos was going to turn out the best. So I took a far away landscape picture, which I had to reprint because, again, I fussy cut them, or I trimmed them down thinking I was going to matte them. So I did have to reprint this photo. And then I took one very close up of my kids so I could actually see their faces. And then I took one up and down far away so you could see the distance between the trees. And in my brain, I couldn't decide which photo I wanted. And I decided I didn't want to pick between any of them. I'm going to put all of them on the layout. I just really don't feel like I needed to make that choice. It's my album. I can do what I want, right? And so I thought that it was very appropriate to take the photo as my title, because that's pretty much how my kids are. It's, Mom, just take the photo. Just hurry up. Are we done yet? And you can see it in their faces that it's like, really? Are you done? So it's more of a joke than it is a document type of deal than anything else. And then, of course, I accidentally forgot to glue my photo high enough, so I missed the little loop in the H, which I will have to go back and fix, and I do that here in just a heartbeat. But I'm just going to glue this one little piece down at the bottom, and it's such a minute little forgettings that by the time I'm done, it's not even noticeable. But I just didn't glue my cut file high enough on this paper. So there we go. Everything is matted. Everything is done. Now it's time to move on. Now this does end up being quite the long video because of the process that I wanted to do on my layout. I didn't want to just slap a bunch of layers of stuff and call it good. There was not really a technique that I wanted to do, but a visualization in my brain that I was trying to figure out how to get it to become part of the paper, if that makes any sense. And it does become such a long process that I do end up turning the video off until I could get it into my head. And by the time that I remembered, or by the time that I got the process down, I forgot to turn the camera back on, you guys. So some of the process was not recorded. Some of it is recorded. The first thing is deciding how wide I want all of my strips and how many of each strip do I want, because I definitely didn't want to waste any of this beautiful paper. It is gorgeous. So I basically guessed. I wanted 2 stripes, 3 green, and I think 3 plaids. Just because the stripes were so colorful, I didn't want them to overpower the rest of the layout, but I did want all that color on the layout because of the mushrooms, the colorful outfits my kids are wearing. I definitely wanted some color on my layout. I just didn't want it to be the main focal point. It also takes me a while to figure out my strips of paper. How do I want them to go? I don't want all the skinny pieces next to each other. I don't want all the wide pieces, all that stuff. I did not take any of that into consideration when I was cutting out my my strips. And then, of course, off camera, I distressed all the edges because that leans towards the technique or the style that I wanted to do on this layout, or the design that I had in my brain to get on this layout. I mean, like I said, I didn't realize that this process was so intensive until I went to go edit the video, and I was like, wow, I really had no clue what I was doing. None whatsoever, you guys. So I had to cut out some of the process. And then, like I said, once I went off camera, instead of trying to record it, I went off camera and then back on the camera. I forgot to turn the camera on when I finally got the hang of what it was I was doing. Or wanted to do. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see all the pieces and what I want to possibly use on this layout. I'm going to go through all of these mushrooms. I didn't record it because, again, it was a very long process. So I went ahead and picked out the mushrooms and the leaves that I wanted to add to this, add to my layout. I fussy cut out those flowers from my my fussy cut paper. That is the same paper that I used for my photo mats. I don't end up using them, but it was something that I possibly intended. So what I'm doing right now is basically dividing and conquering all of the elements that I have picked out from the mushrooms that I picked out from the leaves. I just wanted to make sure that within each little cluster I had fairly the same thing. So I wanted to make sure I had a leaf, a cluster, or a greenery, a tree round, something to that effect. And then I had 2 tags that I really wanted to use. One of them is going to help me make my title pop a little bit more, which is the take the photo. And then of course I still had all those chipboard stickers from the Woodland collection. So what I'm doing now is I am trying to figure out where all my stripes are going to go, because like I said, I really don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how to make it work because it is in my brain. I know what I want it to look like. I just don't know with all these different layers how to make it happen. Here's where I decided that I'm going to put my tag behind the part that says take the photo, because I know that the words that fell off of the photo mat definitely aren't visible unless they have something behind it, that you can't see it on the stripes. I'm also going to, so what I've got envisioning here is I want my greenery, I want my overgrowth, basically, my shrooms and my leaves and my tree rounds to tuck out to make it look like they're growing out of the stripes. I wanted it to be a part of it, but I don't want it all to be tucked out on one side. I want it to look like it's forcing its way out of this crack in my paper. So I want it to come from the left. I want it to come from the right. I want it to come from, in the middle. I just want it to be like it's forcing itself through my paper. But when I add the glue, I just wasn't sure how I was going to make that happen. I wasn't sure where my photos were going to lie, all that good stuff. So I'm slowly but surely figuring it out, trying to figure out how many of my stripes can I lay down before I need to stop and start adding my little pieces in, making sure that in each little cluster I've got fairly the same thing going on. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that I had a mushroom, a greenery, a tree ring, things like that. I wanted to make sure that everything is present. And then I also wanted to make sure that I left room for my photos. So I'm also going to take my favoriteest twine in the whole wide world, which I'll have a link down below if you guys are interested in that. It is from Stampin' Up. But I do have a link down below for my favoriteest twine in the whole wide world. But I'm going to add that into my tag hole. But I don't like how it's got nowhere to go. So I'm going to try to figure out how to put it on my layout, but get it to lay where I want it to. So I wasn't sure if I was just going to lay it over the tag hole and make it look like I put it in there, but then I was missing the loop. Like I was missing that come over the tag loop, right, like that. So took me a minute to figure out how to get that tag or the twine to go downward instead of upward, but I finally got it. I think I'm pretty happy with how it is looking so far. So I'm going to glue everything down and try and figure out how to put my cut file on top of these without losing. It's hard to explain, you guys. It really, really is. It's really just trial and error because I've never done anything like this. I just knew that it was something I wanted to try. Like I really did enjoy doing it. I just didn't know how to do it on camera without it being super long, and it already is very, very long. So here's where I decided that I was going to take a break and figure out how to get it to lay down off camera, and I forgot to turn the camera back on. So when I realized that, I thought, okay, I still have quite a bit of this layout left. Even though I've done the majority of the right-hand side, I still have quite a bit left. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on and finish the left-hand side. So I've added a couple chipboard words from the Minte collection, the Woodland collection. And now I am just slowly but surely adding little bits of foam behind some things. Again, I want to give the mushrooms and the leaves some life and bring them not forward, but make it look like they're popping out of my cracks in the paper. And then I've got one more little cluster that I would like to build over on the left-hand side around my paper, right? So I'm just going to build that really quickly. I've got my last little tag with my twine. I love the movement of the twine on the layout. Just adds a little bit of fiber and something else, you guys. I just feel like it adds so much. Just having that itty bitty little bit of twine. This heart that I'm cutting out now is actually a sticker. And after I had cut off the white frame that was around it, or the white border around it, it does take me quite a bit to take the backing off, which I had not anticipated. So I've got this one here that this chipboard, these other chipboard pieces I really wanted to use, but by the time that I was done putting my layout together, I really didn't have a spot for them. So I'm not going to end up using any more of the chipboard words. Add a few more little mushrooms within this larger cluster over on the left. And I think I'm about done, you guys. Yeah, like I said, it definitely would have been a lot longer had I have shared how I put the other right-hand clusters together. But I was still trying to figure out how to get my photos down and be able to tuck all these things in. Because there are a lot of elements, and each little element, because it's nothing else is holding it down, each little element had to be all glued down. So, and especially with all the dimension that I'm adding, I wanted it to be, I wanted it to look like it had movement and you know, was full. And so almost every single element here has a foam dot on it. Almost every single one. All right, I think I have one more little leaf to find a home for. Add a foam dot behind it because it has to have movement. Okay, and I have to touch every little thing to see if it's secured. It's crazy what all I had going on. Okay, and that wasn't glued down either. I love having these little twines and things, or twigs and stuff, to add into a cluster. I just think it adds a little bit more. So that is my layout. I am so glad that it did turn out the way that I had envisioned it. And like I said, having all these little bits and pieces going to the left, to the right, tucked behind all of my little strips and whatnot. It was something that I really wanted to do, and I'm glad that I finally got it to happen. Or not finally got it to happen, but I'm glad that I was able to make it happen. So anyways, don't forget to check out the links that I have down below. I've got a link for our Facebook group where others that aren't YouTube videos, they are playing along with 31 days of cut files and adding their layouts over in the Facebook group. Also, don't forget to check out Janet Fritz's channel, who is Galaxy Girl Creations here on YouTube. And she is playing along with me every single day because she is my partner in crime when it comes to 31 days of cut files. So don't forget to go check out her channel. And again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I truly appreciate it, and I will check you guys all later. Bye.